Volcano Mount Lewotobi-Laki-Laki erupts violently, wreaking havoc in Indonesia, located on the Ring of Fire. Japan's big revelation to launch the world's first wooden satellite could make Japan the first country to do so. Global TB Report 2024 released diagnosis of TB in over 8 million people. India still far from TB eradication target. Scientists discover an ancient city related to the Mayan civilization found in Mexico. Major announcement by the central government, guidelines issued for Namo Drone Didi Scheme, women can now operate drones. Recently, a volcanic eruption has been observed at Mount Lewotobi-Laki-Laki in Indonesia. The eruption caused significant damage to nearby areas due to rocks and ash ejected from the volcano. In response, the Indonesian Disaster Management Authority has classified this volcanic activity as Level 4. Level 4 indicates the highest level of risk for volcanic activities, reflecting a serious situation. It is noteworthy that this volcano is part of a twin volcanic system, which local residents refer to as the male and female mountains. The recent volcanic eruption is considered to be part of the male mountain known as Lewotobi-Laki-Laki. The other part, referred to as the female mountain, is named Lewotobi-Perempuan. Both of these mountains are classified as stratovolcanoes, which are the most commonly found type of volcanoes worldwide, formed by layers of lava repeatedly emerging from the volcanic crater. For your information, Mount Lewotobi-Laki-Laki is located on the Ring of Fire, an active seismic area that stretches along the Pacific Ocean. This region is responsible for most of the world's volcanic and earthquake activities. Indonesia is home to around 130 active volcanoes, making it one of the most volcanically hazardous areas in the world. Recently, tropical storm Rafael has crossed Jamaica. After passing Jamaica, the storm began moving towards Cuba, where it was expected to transform into a hurricane. The storm was advancing northwest. Due to this tropical storm, hurricane warnings have been issued for the Cayman Islands and the western provinces of Cuba. Notably, Cuba had recently been affected by Hurricane Oscar, which made landfall in the eastern part of the island. A tropical storm is a type of low-pressure system that forms over tropical oceans. It is associated with strong winds and heavy rainfall and can cause significant damage in maritime areas. The sea surface temperature must be at least 26.5 degrees Celsius for tropical storms to form. When warm, moist air rises, a low-pressure area is created at the ocean surface. This low-pressure area draws surrounding air towards it, initiating cyclonic motion. Due to the Earth's rotation, storms in the northern hemisphere rotate counterclockwise, while in the southern hemisphere they rotate clockwise. During a tropical storm, wind speeds can reach between 63 to 118 km per hour. When wind speeds exceed 119 km per hour, the storm becomes a hurricane, cyclone, or typhoon. Recently, Japan has planned to launch the world's first wooden satellite, LignoSat. This satellite will test the behavior of wood in space and the use of environmentally friendly technology. The project has been developed in collaboration with Kyoto University and Sumitomo Forestry. The main objective of this satellite is to address the problem of space debris, which has become a serious environmental challenge. Notably, more than 9,300 tons of space debris is currently orbiting Earth, posing a severe threat. The use of wood in the satellite means that the spacecraft will completely burn up upon re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere, thereby not polluting it. It is worth mentioning that lignosat is made specifically from magnolia wood chosen for its sustainability and biodegradability. This wood is easy to process and resistant to breakage. The satellite will be equipped with magnetic devices and sensors that will collect data as it orbits Earth. The idea behind this project is to test alternatives like wood in place of traditional metals in space. This step represents a significant initiative towards a sustainable solution in space exploration and could serve as an inspiration for environmentally friendly technologies in the future. Recently, scientists have discovered a city of the ancient Maya civilization in the jungles of Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico. The scientists used LiDAR technology in this discovery. LiDAR, which stands for light detection and ranging, is a remote sensing technique. It is capable of creating an accurate 3D model of the surface, elevation, and other features by using laser light pulses. This technology typically works through sensors installed in aircraft or drones which send laser beams to the Earth's surface and measure the time of their reflections, allowing for precise distance calculations. This equipment includes a laser, a scanner, and a GPS receiver. In this process, laser beams are sent to the ground where they collide with trees, buildings, and other surfaces. These beams return to the LiDAR sensor, which measures the time of their return to obtain accurate distance information. It is noteworthy that LiDAR technology is used in various fields such as geomorphology, forestry management, urban planning, and disaster management. The European Space Agency is ready to launch the PROBA 3 mission. It will be launched from India's Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. This mission will use 2 satellites to study the sun's corona, which will create an artificial solar eclipse in space. The launch date is scheduled for 4th December 2024. The PROBA 3 mission includes 2 satellites, an occulter, and a coronagraph. These satellites will work together to block the main part of the sun, allowing scientists to study the sun's corona in detail. This technique is similar to a natural solar eclipse observed from Earth, but it can be maintained for an extended period in space. It is noteworthy that the Indian Space Research Organization will use its Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle rocket for this mission. The PSLV-XL is ISRO's reliable launch vehicle that has successfully placed various types of satellites into orbit. Notably, the ISRO is India's space research agency founded in 1969 by Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. ISRO's headquarters is located in Bengaluru. It was established with the aim of establishing India's presence in space. In 1972, it was brought under the Department of Space. Recently, reports have emerged that about 1/3 of the 75 tigers in Ranthambore Tiger Reserve are missing. In light of this alarming situation, the state government has formed an investigation committee. The disappearance of tigers is a serious concern for wildlife conservation. It is worth noting that Ranthambore National Park is located in the Savai Madhopur district of Rajasthan and is world-renowned for its tiger population. There have been previous incidents of declining tiger numbers and their disappearances. For instance, in 2011, the disappearance of 4 tigers was confirmed. To protect tigers, the Government of India launched Project Tiger on 1st April 1973. The objective of this initiative was to halt the declining tiger population and conserve their natural habitats. Initially, this project included 9 tiger reserves. As a result of this initiative, there has been a notable increase in the tiger population in India. Speaking of Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, it was designated as a national park in 1980. The sanctuary is situated between the Aravalli and Vindhya mountain ranges, which enriches it with natural beauty and diversity. The area of Ranthambore is approximately 1,334 square kilometers, which includes the main national park, tiger sanctuary, and surrounding forest. Notably, the Ranthambore fort, built in the 10th century, is located here and is included in the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Besides tigers, this tiger reserve is home to leopards, bears, wild boars, cheetal, nilgai, and various species of birds. Recently, WHO released the Global TB Tuberculosis Report 2024. This report presents an analysis of the global TB situation based on 2023 data. According to the report, approximately 8.2 million people were diagnosed with TB in 2023, marking the highest number since monitoring began in 1995. The report also highlights India's progress and the current challenges in its fight against TB. It is noteworthy that India is still quite distant from WHO's TB elimination target. According to the report, TB cases in India decreased by only 18% between 2015 and 2023, whereas the target is a 50% reduction by 2025. Likewise, TB-related deaths have decreased by 24% with a goal to reduce them by 75% by 2025. On a global scale, India bears the highest TB burden, accounting for 26% of global cases. Indonesia ranks second with 10% and China third with 6.8%. For information, TB or tuberculosis is an infectious disease caused by the bacterium Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It is a chronic infection that mainly affects the lungs. TB spreads through the air when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or spits. The Bacillus calmette-guerin vaccine, the only licensed vaccine, provides protection particularly to infants and young children against severe forms of TB. India has set a target to eliminate TB by 2025, which is 5 years ahead of the global target of 2030. Recently, a joint special forces exercise called VAJRA began between India and the United States. This joint exercise commenced on 2 November 2024 at the Orchid Combat Training Center in Idaho, USA, and will continue until 22 November 2024. The primary objective of this exercise is to enhance military cooperation between the special forces of both countries, improve interoperability, and exchange special operations strategies. Notably, this is the 15th edition of the joint exercise. It is worth mentioning that the previous PRAHAR exercise was held in Umroi, Meghalaya in December 2023. Each country is participating with contingents of 45 soldiers. The Indian Army is represented by Special Forces units, while the US Army is represented by the Green Berets. It is noteworthy that special forces are units of a country's armed forces that conduct counter-terrorism and other specialized operations. During the training, there will be a particular focus on high physical fitness, joint planning, and tactical exercises aimed at enhancing the capabilities of joint special forces operations in desert and semi-desert areas. This annual exercise is alternately conducted in India and the United States. Recently, the Asian Development Bank released the Asia Pacific Climate Report 2024. This report highlights the severe economic impacts of climate change on the Asia Pacific region. According to the report, due to high greenhouse gas emissions, a 17% reduction in gross domestic product may be observed in the Asia Pacific region by 2070. Under high greenhouse gas emissions, this figure could rise to 41% by 2100. In India, a decline of 24.7% in GDP may occur by 2070, while neighboring countries like Bangladesh may see a decline of 30.5%, Vietnam 30.2%, and Indonesia 26.8%. Notably, the report identifies rising sea levels and reduced labor productivity as major economic loss factors, which will more severely affect low-income and vulnerable economies. For your information, the Asian Development Bank is a regional development bank established in 1966 to promote economic development in Asia and reduce poverty. Its objective is to provide loans, technical assistance, and grants for infrastructure and climate change-related projects. Its headquarters is located in Manila. The ADB has 69 member countries, 49 of which are from the Asia-Pacific region. Recently, the central government has issued guidelines for the operation of the Namo Drone Didi Scheme. According to the guidelines, the scheme will be governed by a committee of empowered secretaries from the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Department of Rural Development, and the Department of Fertilizers at the central level. Additionally, women self-help groups will receive an 80% subsidy on the cost of drones and associated equipment for purchasing drones. The cluster-level federations of SHGs will raise the remaining amount as a loan under the National Agricultural Infrastructure Fund. One member from the women's SHGs will be selected for a 15-day training program. which will include mandatory drone pilot training and additional training for agricultural applications of nutrients and pesticides. It is noteworthy that under this scheme, major fertilizer companies will be responsible for the states. They will establish necessary links with state departments, drone manufacturers, cluster-level federations of self-help groups and farmers. For your information, the Namo Drone Didi scheme is a central sector scheme aimed at empowering women through self-help groups by providing rental drones for agriculture. The target is to assist 14,500 self-help groups across the country by 2024 to 2026. So that's all for now in this bulletin. After the news, let's take a quick look at 5 questions related to the bulletin. Questions based on today's bulletin are: first question is, consider the following statements regarding Mount Levotobi-Laki-Laki. 1. It is located in the Ring of Fire region of the Pacific Ocean. 2. It does not emit ash and lava during an eruption. 3. It does not affect the global climate in any way. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Next question, consider the following statements regarding LiDAR. 1. Its full name is Light Detection and Ranging. 2. It is a remote sensing technology. 3. It includes laser beams, scanners, and GPS units. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Next question, consider the following statements regarding Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. 1. It is located in Savai Madhopur district of Rajasthan. 2. It was designated as a national park in 1989. 3. It was declared one of the Project Tiger Reserves in India in 1973. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Next question, consider the following statements regarding the Asian Development Bank. 1. It is a regional development bank. 2. It was established in 1966. 3. Its objective is to promote economic development and reduce poverty in Asia. How many of the above statements are incorrect? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Last question, consider the following statements regarding tuberculosis. 1. It is a non-communicable disease. 2. Its carrier is the Mycobacterium tuberculosis bacterium. 3. It primarily affects the lungs. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Recently, the 352nd Governing Body meeting of the International Labour Organization was held in Geneva. During this meeting, Sumitra Davra, Secretary of the Ministry of Labour and Employment, highlighted India's achievements in poverty eradication and employment growth. She mentioned that over the past 9 years, 248 million people have emerged from multidimensional poverty and approximately 170 million people have been integrated into economic activities between 2016-17 and 2022-23. The International Labour Organization is a UN agency that promotes social and economic justice by setting international labour standards. Recently, President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated the first Asian Buddhist Summit in New Delhi. This 2-day summit was organized by the Ministry of Culture and the International Buddhist Confederation. Notably, the theme of the summit was the role of Buddhist Dharma in strengthening Asia. In her address, the President stated that as the world faces existential crisis on multiple fronts today, the Buddhist community has much to offer humanity. She emphasized the need to discuss Buddhism's role in strengthening Asia and bringing about true peace. Recently, the Indian Ministry of Tourism participated in the World Travel Market held in London. This 3-day international travel and tourism event took place from 5th November to 7th November. A delegation of 50 stakeholders from India participated in the World Travel Market. The India Pavilion showcased the country's rich culture, languages and traditions, focusing particularly on wedding tourism, meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, tourism and the Kumbh Mela. A special mock mandap was created to provide a feel of Indian wedding traditions. Recently, the joint military exercise Vinbax 2024 between India and Vietnam commenced in Ambala. This exercise will be conducted in Ambala and Chandi Mandir until 23rd November. It is the 5th iteration of this exercise with the participation of both countries' Army and Air Force personnel for the first time. A contingent of 47 soldiers from the Indian side is represented by a regiment of the Corps of Engineers. Notably, the aim of this exercise is to enhance the joint military capability of both nations for engineering tasks in United Nations peacekeeping operations. Recently, the 9th edition of the Garuda Shakti exercise was launched. This exercise is being conducted in Jakarta from 1st November to 12th November and is a joint military exercise between India and Indonesia. The first edition of this exercise took place in India in 2012. Its purpose is to familiarize both sides with each other's operational procedures and enhance mutual understanding, cooperation, and interoperability between the special forces of both armies. Notably, exercises between the Indian Navy and the Indonesian Navy are conducted as part of Maritime Strength and Indo-Corpat. Recently, the Union Minister for Jal Shakti inaugurated the Ganga Utsav 2024 under the River City Alliance in Haridwar. This festival aims to promote the conservation of the Ganga River and emphasize its cultural and spiritual significance. The River City Alliance is an organization that now includes 145 river cities across the country. It works towards promoting healthy urban rivers through an integrated approach to river-sensitive urban planning, and any city located along a river can join the alliance at any time. Recently, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment launched the Tulip brand. The inauguration took place during the Shilp Samagam Mela 2024 held in New Delhi. Tulip is a digital platform for crafts and community empowerment aimed at providing a sales platform for marginalized artisans, particularly SCs, OBCs, sanitation workers, and persons with disabilities. It also aims to create global recognition for their products through e-marketing. The Tulip digital platform will ensure the economic self-sufficiency of artisans through e-marketplaces and serve as a platform for gaining global recognition. Recently, Thailand announced that Indian nationals will now have visa-free entry into the country. This extension of visa policy for Indian citizens will remain in place indefinitely, which was set to expire on 11th November 2024. According to the new policy, Indian tourists are now allowed to stay in Thailand for up to 60 days without a visa, with the possibility of extending their stay by 30 days through local immigration offices. This extension will facilitate easier travel for tourists to Thailand, which is a major attraction due to its ancient beaches and rich culture. For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.